Click on the subscribe button, especially the bell on the right side. Otherwise, you will miss the latest videos.
Today, I'm going to talk about Rahu in the first house. Uh, yeah, so let me begin. Okay, so Rahu in the first house. As many of you know, that Rahu in the first house, you must have read all across the internet and or, as well as in classical books and all the texts and from all the astrologers. Okay, you must have read it already. So you have got the basic idea what Rahu does in the first house. But my suggestion to everyone would be to first understand the logic, okay? Because see, you will find many definitions in classical texts and astrology points of views of having Rahu in the first house for different ascendants, but you should have your own basics clear. So for that, what my first recommendation or suggestion would be to go through all the classics and to understand what is the significance of the first house, to understand what is the significance of the signs, and to understand what exactly is Rahu. Okay, so these three things you need to first be clear of to understand and verify whether the astrologer or anyone is saying stating correct facts or not. Okay, so this is my suggestion to all the astrology or people who are learning astrology or have been in this field for many years. So that will help you to strengthen your basics. Okay, so let us first start with what is Rahu and how did Rahu originate and what are the basic points of Rahu before we proceed. Okay, so basically Rahu is an asura, and in one mythological text or from mythological point of view, he has been known for cheating. Okay, so there was a story that he had been killed by Vishnu because he took the shape of the Devatas and wanted to have the elixir or the Amrit. Okay, so he was basically killed by Vishnu, but he had already got one, like you can say that in Hindi we call it uh, Ashirvad or boon. Okay, he has got one boon or one blessing or Ashirvad, whatever we can say, from the gods that he will not die. So what we have is his head, okay, and his tail is known as Ketu. So that is what how it originated. Now, while studying any astrological text, it's better that we know the mythological background so that we are able to understand that what are the characteristics and what are the situations that the planet has gone through to get formed. Okay, so Rahu's mythological text is dates back to this kind of a situation. Okay, so then the classics are representing Rahu to be black in color or smoky in color, and it is also a significator of leprosy and skin diseases. Okay, now leprosy is a kind of a bacterial disease. Okay, and also skin diseases. Then Rahu is represented to be low caste. Okay, then it Rahu also goes against the normal norms. Like for example, you have traditions, rituals, and Rahu will go against that. Rahu will not follow the original traditions and rituals. Okay. Then Rahu is known to be devoid of intelligence. Okay. So we represent intelligence to be Mercury, and Rahu is said to be devoid of intelligence. So Rahu does not have any intelligence. Okay. So you can also relate to the fact that Rahu had the whole body of the Asura has been cut into two parts. One is Rahu, one is Ketu. So there is one deformation in the body. Okay. So if there is one deformation in the body, any entity will not be able to think properly. Okay, he thinks with his head, and the another part tail has been cut off. So in general, we can say that the person can be devoid of intelligence or the normal level of thinking that a person or an entity should have. So in that case, we can relate to the mythological text that it is devoid of intelligence. Another important thing is Rahu represents wood, okay, and also smoke, as I have mentioned. So we use kind of wood to get smoke out of it, okay. So these two are also related, and Rahu is also the reason for our birth, okay. So the soul goes through many births, many levels of purification and processing before, after death, and before we start a new life. So wherever Rahu is in your house, that is the reason for your birth. Okay. So you have specific karma attached to that house. So that you are again born to fulfill that karma, because you had a burning hidden desire in your past life that I need to excuse me, I need to fulfill that karma, and hence uh, Rahu is actually the reason for our birth. Okay. Now Rahu is also representing illusion and confusion. Okay. Why is it that? Because Rahu is smoke. When you are going through an atmosphere which is covered with smoke, you cannot see anything or you cannot think clearly. So that is what is going to create an illusion and confusion. Okay. So these are the following characteristics of Rahu. Now, as I told you in the beginning, that mythologically Rahu got killed by Vishnu, God Vishnu. Okay. Now, what can be or what can you derive from it, or what can be an interpretation of that? As we know that Vishnu is like represents Mercury. If you follow Vedic remedies, for Mercury remedies, we always say that worship God Vishnu or chant Vishnu Sahasranama. Okay, so basically Vishnu is very much connected to Mercury. Now we had mentioned before that Rahu is devoid of intelligence. Rahu does not have an intelligence. Okay. Now Vishnu had killed Rahu. So what can you interpret from this? That if we use our intelligence, we can kill Rahu. Suppose there is a very malefic Rahu, or Rahu is creating a very malefic effect in a horoscope. Okay. Supposing a Rahu Dasha, it's very hell, uh, havoc kind of a situation. Okay. So how to get over that? Now, we have to understand why is the havoc situation created first? Because of some kind of illusion or not able to think properly. You're thinking of something, or your mind, you're having a brain fog right there. Your mind is not able to think or function properly. So that is the reason why this, like, the whole concept of Mercury is coming. So Vishnu has killed Rahu. Okay, he was able to not kill Rahu, but at least defeat Rahu, so that his head gets cut off. So, with the help of intelligence, or by strengthening our Mercury, that is our intelligence, we can be able to reduce the malefic effects of Rahu. So that is interpretation that we can get from here. Okay, we can come out of our smoke and the delusion that we are going through. Okay, so this is the first basic thing you need to understand about Rahu. Okay,
Yeah.
now.
It's very nice. This nice explanation of uh, about the Rahu. So, Prathitha, can you explain with some chart also, so that we can understand how it's affect the charts of other planets?
Yes, yes, sure. I will definitely do that. But I want to first explain all the points in general,
Okay, please, please.
and in the end, we'll discuss some example chart. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please, please.
So, so the houses which are actually ruled by Rahu are Aquarius and other Cancer. That is actually accepted by me or taken by me, because you will see many classical texts saying that Rahu is owning Gemini, Aquarius, Cancer, and maybe some other sign, Virgo. Okay, you will find 4 or 5 different variations everywhere, and you will find different variations when you talk to different astrologers. Okay, Why is that so? If you think on a very deep level, Rahu is actually illusion and confusion. Okay, so that is the basic nature of Rahu. So when we are applying principles of Rahu in astrology, also we are getting illusions and confusion. That Rahu is ruling this sign or that sign, or where is it exalted, where is it debilitated, where it says Mool Trikona. 10 different people will give you 10 different views because of their experience. So in real life, also Rahu is creating confusion. So my best opinion would be just take any sign that you feel that it's like going accurate with your predictions or with your experience. You can consider any sign. But for a Vedic point of view, I'm considering Aquarius and Cancer to be the own signs and the most recon sign because I have got like good results when I've used those. Okay, so but you're free to choose any other sign if you want to. And I have seen that Aquarius and Cancer signs, they are like Rahu can perform well. Exaltation signs can be Taurus or Gemini, both, because Rahu performs well in both Taurus and Gemini. And obviously debilitation would be the opposite signs like Scorpio and Sagittarius. Okay. Now let us understand the qualities of the houses ruled by Aquarius. Okay. Aquarius rules the original house of desires, 11th house. Okay. Um, Now, we are born due to some unfulfilled desires of the past life. That is why that is like represented by the sign of Aquarius. It is co-ruled by Saturn and Rahu. So, to fulfill the desire, we have come to back to this life. So, you might be wondering that having desires is very good. Like, if you have ambitions and desires, you can rise in life. That is absolutely correct. But the only thing is that in any classical text, we will see that the 11th house is considered to be the house of punishment. Now, why is that? From a rishi or a sage's point of view, they are very spiritual people and they have considered the 11th house of desires to be a house of punishment because they are not that or things like that. But in today's world, also, important thing. Without ambitions, nobody survives. But in general, too much of desires is also not good because if you have too much of desires, you can take the shape of Rahu and cheat on other people and take unfair advantage, and ultimately this will lead to your own punishment. Okay, because if you are over ambitious about something, you have a tendency to cheat and do illegal things, activities that will lead you to danger. Okay? So that is the reason why that is the original Badhaka house where we are facing obstructions, and that is why uh, Rahu is ruling that sign, which is Aquarius. Now, why something like the sign ruled by Rahu? Due to Tacit and Moon experience, as well as exaltation sign to be Taurus. If you see Moon, Moon is also ruling Cancer, and his Moon Trikon and exaltation sign is also Taurus. Okay. So what we can interpret from this is that Rahu is more or less behaving like the Moon. Moon is our mind. Mind will have desires. Okay. So Rahu is ruling the original fourth house as well as the 11th house. So fourth house is the mind and 11th house is the desire. So whenever you are checking Rahu or whenever you are checking Moon, you should also check Rahu, because if you want to pacify your Moon, you have to pacify your Rahu. Ketu is the thing that we do not want. Ketu is already what we have left behind in the past life. Okay, we do not really want Ketu in this life. Like wherever but that is what we are desiring in this life. Always we are thinking about that house. Our moon is basically in that house. Suppose we have moon in the 5th house and Rahu in the 2nd house. So our mind is in the 5th house actually, but our desires are in the 11th, I mean 2nd house. Okay. But in reality, moon is also in the 2nd house. Like our mind is also in the 2nd house, because if you are desiring something, we are always like thinking about how to get that in life. So in a way, moon is also connected to that. Not in a like literal sense, but it's connected to that because our desires are there in the second house. Okay, so if you want to pacify our moon, we need to pacify Rahu as well, because we can meditate and keep our mind relaxed and all. But somewhere, if Rahu is not pacified, that relaxation will be for a very short period of time. We will again start desiring the things which we have not accomplished, and to a next extra level. Okay, so everything should be kept in balance, and to balance moon, we should also be balancing Rahu. Okay. Pacifying reasons, and we are pacifying and why is the exaltation assigned to be Taurus and Gemini? Let me explain. Comforts, food. Okay? As you know, that Rahu wanted to be immortal. That is the reason why he wanted to have that elixir, because he wanted to be immortal. In order to be immortal, you would need good food. You would want desire good food. You would desire good dresses, jewelry. That is the reason why Rahu is basically getting exalted. Gemini. Why do you think Rahu is exalted in Gemini? Because Gemini is the original third house. Okay. Uh, if anybody wants to do business, that person needs to talk, communicate. Now you can see two things coming out from here. Business, if you are an entrepreneur or if you are in business, people have a generic view that people who are entrepreneurs or into business or self-employment, they can generate more revenue, or they can be one of the richest people in the world. So, how to initiate business? Business can be initiated from the third house, because third house is the original house of initiation, courage, communication. Without communication and networking, you cannot go anywhere. So that is also included in the sign of Aquarius, which is the 11th house of entrepreneurship, revenues, gains, profits. Okay. So this 3 and 11 houses, like 3 and 11 signs, are very important for Rahu, because Rahu wants to become immortal. Rahu wants to have huge profits. So that is the reason why it gets exalted in Gemini and Taurus also, because Taurus is money, food, comforts. Okay. So this is the logic behind exaltation and debilitation and how is ruled by Rahu and the Mool Trikona. Okay. Some will also say it's Virgo, because Virgo is a very practical sign, and that is also in the Arthas Trikona 2, 6, 10 signs. Yeah, so Virgo is a very practical sign, and Rahu can utilize its the qualities of analytical qualities of Virgo to achieve profits. But according to my experience, I am choosing only Taurus and Gemini in this. Next, we come to the nakshatras ruled by Rahu. Now, why do we need the nakshatras ruled by Rahu? Because before we are placing Rahu into the first house, we need to know Rahu from head to toe. Okay? Although Rahu only has a head, doesn't have a toe, but still, we need to understand Rahu totally. After understanding Rahu, if we place Rahu in the first house in any sign, we will be able to interpret very easily. So that is why I said that clearing the basics is very important. If you just read 3-4 lines from that and not go into depth and just place Rahu in first house and start interpreting, you will not get the full clear picture. You will always face troubles. You might think that Rahu in the first house can give drastic results and bad results, but ultimately it might not. That is the reason why you need to clear the basics first. Okay, so we will come to the points of nakshatras. So Rahu is basically owning 3 nakshatras. One is Ardra, one is Sadbhisha, and one is Swati. So Ardra nakshatra is the original nakshatra of the third house. Okay. So let me first define the characteristics. Ardra nakshatra firstly represents electricity, modern technology, physics, higher research. These are originally represented by Ardra. Tesla has, I think, Saturn in Ardra, if I'm not wrong. Saturn in Ardra, so he has done all these researches and invented uh, all the scientific inventions. He was involved in scientific inventions. He has also used law of attraction. I think many of you are also aware of law of attraction, of using visualization techniques and all. The numbers, synchronicity of numbers, he has used that because in those days, using law of attraction and synchronicity of numbers is not very common because especially when it's done by any scientist. Okay, it's not a very common thing. Is we think that these are all superstitions, especially in those days. They had like thought that these are all superstitions, and why would a scientist follow all these? So basically, they didn't go in synchro, like in sync. They were not in sync, but still he did all that because of his quality of having Saturn in Adra. Because his karma, Saturn is the karma. Karma was related to Adra, quality of Rahu. Adra. So what happened? The whole Earth, almost all, it gave a new life. It wanted to become immortal. So what happens in vaccines? You become immortal. So in the beginning, I said that Rahu is a bacterial disease. So you can find out that you can get an idea that Rahu represents bacteria. Okay. So corona is a virus. It's not a bacteria, but like microbiology. Okay? It's like that is also uh, same category of the microbiology. It's not necessary that it will always represent bacteria, but you can understand that any kind of bacteria, anything are very tiny and not detectable easily. So Rahu is representing all those which are not detectable very easily. In the beginning, we are not able to detect that what has gone wrong during the COVID times. Okay, so that was that disbalance of energy was brought by Rahu and Adra. Adra is basically electrical very electrical energy which causes disbalance and causes a lot of havoc. It can cause sorrow because Adra represent tears. Suppose anybody is having Rahu in the third house in Adra, just an example I'm saying, they will always be interested in writing anything which brings tears to your eyes, some very drastic or very dramatic kind of a story. Okay, so yeah, so basically it's a very cunning nakshatra and destructive as well. So it's originally represented by Rudra. Uh, so yeah, and which is the quality of the 11th house also, because 11th house is ruled by Rudra. So Adra has quality both the third house and the 11th house, but it's a very destructive kind of a nakshatra. So these qualities are already in Rahu. So Rahu is likes to research, uh, go out of the way, into a lot of technical knowledge and research. Wipe out something to bring out something new. In research, we are always researching for something new. During the COVID times, like there were lots of researchers to bring out a new vaccine, okay, to bring out new technology. That is the basic concept of Adra. Next, we come to Sadbhisha. Sadbhisha is Aquarius is having Sadbhisha. So it's represented by 100 physicians that has a very strong healing energy. If someone has majority of the planets in Sattvisha ruled by Rahu, that person will also always be interested in healing. And it is also something to do with spine, right? If um, Saturn is now in Sattvisha, and you will see a majority of people might get evicted out of their workplace or not doing things properly. So it's a nakshatra basically where utilized for spine activities. Okay, and 11th house is also the house of healing. So Sadbhisha is in Aquarius, and if 11th house is not a Badhak house, 11th can also be considered as the house of healing. So Rahu is having those qualities. Because as I told you, Rahu does not have all the bad qualities in the world. It also can help in healing. bringing out modern technologies that can help in healing. And the last is Swati. Swati Nakshatra is the original that is present in the Libra sign. And in the Libra sign, it basically is ruled by Saraswati. Now, Saraswati is known to rule, to represent knowledge, freedom, and independence. Swati is a very airy nakshatra. If someone's Rahu is in Swati, uh, on a general basis, that will interpret to be like he can be into any kind of, or his nature would be to be independent, free, and whenever you will see the person talking to you, he will be a very good communicator because he has a lot of knowledge, uh, or he just wants to expand his business. A very business oriented person with a lot of knowledge, because if you want to establish a business or in original house of Libra, you would require a lot of knowledge. So independent, knowledge oriented, and a very business oriented person Rahu can give you. So why did I describe all these nakshatras? Because through the nakshatras you will understand different layers of Rahu. Rahu is not only about the things which are written all of the internet or in the classics. You have to also go through other studies to understand other qualities of Rahu. Otherwise, your research will become incomplete. Okay. So these are the three qualities, and the aspects given by Rahu are 159, and some people also consider the aspect of the 12th aspect also some people take, but I take only 115 and 9 aspect. 7th aspect also you can consider, but it's mostly if other planets are not there, then the 7th aspect will fall on Ketu, which is already there. Okay. Okay. Now part of Rahu is over. Now we will come to Rahu in Lagna. So then we'll just come to what is Lagna. Literal sense, Lagna is representing our health and overall life. So there is a beginning. The health and overall life is represented by Lagna. Have what, how do people define us? How, what do we look like? So that is our identity, image, health, looks. These are represented by Lagna. Planets in Lagna, sign in Lagna will always represent what you are like overall. How do you look? How do you represent yourself in front of everyone? Okay. Next, the other factors which are derivatives of certain principles in astrology that are also represented by Lagna. Now, what do I mean by this? For example, the Lagna is 7th from the 7th house. Bhavat Bhavan concept, if you take. So, 7th house is a spouse and the other people. And Lagna is 7th from that. That is your spouse's marriage. So, the Lagna is also your spouse's marriage. Okay. Your marriage is the 7th house, your spouse's marriage is the Lagna. How do you understand like what kind of marriage life your spouse will have? That is seen through the Lagna. Then we have foreign travels through the Lagna. I know that foreign travels are represented by the 7th house, 9th house, 12th house, 3rd house, 10th house, and all. But Lagna is also representing that. Due to the fact that again the Bhavat Bhavan concept is convenient, Lagna is 12th from the 2nd house. 2nd house is the house of family. Foreign travels does not always mean that you have to go to a different country. You can also stay at a different state where the culture is foreign to you. For example, you are staying in Delhi, you choose to move to Chennai. So Chennai culture is extremely foreign to you, so that is also kind of a foreign travel. So it is 12 from a second house, so first house is also foreign travels. Then it is also represent longevity. Okay, how long can you live? That is also stronger the Lagna, stronger is the longevity. It also represents a mother's career because mother is the 4th house, 10th from the 4th house is the first house, that is the mother's career. It represents a third child. You might be wondering how does the Lagna represent the third child? Third child is generally represented by the 9th house. 5th house is your first child, 7th house is the sibling of your first child, and the 9th house is your third child. But if you check your spouse, who is the 7th house, spouse's first child is 9th house, second child is the 11th house, and the third child is the first house. So in that way, that is also a third child. Okay. Death of your enemy. So enemy is represented by the 9th house. represented with this house, and 8 to that house is the first house. So that is the death of your enemies. Automatically, the Lagna stronger Lagna is, the easily will be able to defeat your enemies. So that is the death of your enemies in the literal sense as well as Bhavat Bhavan concept also. First house are also the enemies of your in-laws. Like for example, eighth house is your in-laws. Six from that is the first house. So these are the derivative concepts from Bhavat Bhava apart from the original concept of what is the first house. So whenever you're placing Rahu or any planet in the first house or analyzing any house, you also need to remember the derivative concepts from there. Okay. Um, yeah. So we have more or less covered what is Rahu and what is the first house. Now we will place Rahu in the first house. So, what we can do is like now what you have to do is to combine the qualities of Rahu and the quality of the first house. The first basic quality of Rahu in any sign in the first house is that Rahu does not give, like if you have Rahu in the first house, you will find that you do that all your desires are with you. Like people who have Rahu in the first house are first of all obsessed with themselves for any reason. Maybe they like their own looks. Maybe they like their personality. Maybe they like their okay. They're always concerned about themselves and all the factors that I mentioned, the points of the first house. Okay. For example, one person is obsessed about his or her mother's career. Okay. So that is also Rahu is giving the obsession about the mother's career. That is the 10th from the 4th house. So these qualities Rahu can give in the first house. Now that will again depend on what sign is in the first house and what planet is there in the first house. Okay. Now let us say from Aries to Pisces. I'll just give a generic view of Rahu in the first house from Aries to Pisces because I don't know what other planets are there or any other combinations is there. That will definitely change how where is ascendant lord getting placed. Okay. So Rahu in Aries in the first house, if we say, like Rahu is transiting in Aries right now, you will see many people are interested in going to gyms because Aries is health, body, courage, okay, anger. So in overall, that gives a very dominating quality of being obsessed with health conscious people. Okay, healing. Aries also like Ashwini is there, right? So that is the healing quality of Aries. They like to heal others, heal themselves. Okay, so basic nature of Rahu in Aries or in the first house is to heal. Next we come to Taurus. And also another point for Rahu and Aries in the first house is Rahu rules the 11th house and comes to the first house. So what it means that their whole life, first of all, Badhak Lord is in the first house, so that will create some problems to their health because of their over ambitions. And also they will have a strong desire of living their life to fulfill the desire. See, there are two kinds of people. Some people are never satisfied with anything. They will always want for more and more and more. So that is the Rahu and Aries in the first house. But some people want like, okay, fine, I'm satisfied. I don't want anything else. So that is not the quality of the person that you're looking at when you're considering Rahu and Aries in the first house. Okay. Then we go to Rahu in Taurus in the first house. So here Rahu is the 10th lord coming to the first house. So again the obsession is related to career and image and financial gains. And that is having an impact on the 5th and the 9th houses. So 5th house is the house of intelligence, progeny, studies. 9th house is the house of gurus, mentors, um, guidance, wisdom, spirituality, pilgrimages. So what the person is doing is Rahu is taking the energy of the 10th lord in the first house. So a very materialistic kind of a person you can find. Materialistic in the sense that who loves to have good life, good food, self-secured, security, money, and all that. And that has an impact on the 5th and the 9th houses. That is the house of progeny, his intelligence, or his gurus. Like he might quarrel with his gurus that on the views of his status. He might quarrel with his father due to his career, or he wants to go in a different career. His father might not want to go, wanted to go to a career of that sort. Okay, so that is the quality of Rahu in Taurus in the first house. Okay. Of course, I don't know where the Saturn is placed, where your Lagna Lord is placed, where the ninth house is placed. That might change the results. But in on a general note that I'm saying. Then for Gemini ascendant, Rahu is ruling the ninth house. The ninth house in Lagna is Ascendant. So Lagna by Rahu is different from, I'm also eccentric, but different from others. Like your father's point of view or your mentor's point of view might be different from the worst of the world. So it is in Gemini, which is considered as to be one of the exaltation signs of Rahu also, in the sign of communication. Okay, so what happens is that the your mentor or your father or your guru, what they do is they want to share their eccentric point of views or the different point of views with you through the house of Gemini, that is communication and sharing, social media and all. Okay, and you also, your views are also formed because of them, like they are influencing your point of view throughout your life. So that is the basic quality of the Gemini Rahu in the first house. And next we are coming to Cancer. So for Cancer, the ascendant Rahu is ruling the 8th house. Okay, now here it can give you qualities like see, 8th house is also represented by in-laws, and Rahu is the karaka for in-laws. um Eighth Lord Rahu coming to the first house of Cancer ascendants is that somehow your state of well-being and emotional desires and emotional need will depend a lot on your in-laws. Okay, like yeah, that will depend a lot on your in-laws. Depending on where the moon is placed, if the moon is afflicted and placed badly, then you might get very emotionally drained out because of the in-laws. And since Rahu is known for politics and cunning nature or getting cheated, so the eighth house is also known for those kind of qualities of getting cheated and all. So if Rahu is in the eighth, uh, ruler of the eighth house sitting in the Lagna, you might have some hidden diseases or some hidden enemies which you are not able to detect easily, which might drain you out emotionally, depending on where the moon is sitting and any other malefic or malefic influences of the moon. Okay, that is for Cancer. Next, we are coming to Leo. Rahu and Leo in the first house. That first quality that you can see, that the seventh lord is coming to the Lagna in Leo. Now, Leo is a very loyal sign. Leo wants attention, and Leo is the king. Okay, first, so that's a very and second lord is the other people. That Rahu will always desire success, fame, intelligence. Okay, royalty, especially if it's placed in nakshatra like Magha. Magha is nakshatra of loyalty. So, a lot of attention-seeking people these people can become, and it's also aspecting the ninth house, which is signified by Sun. So, a lot of power and dominating people these people can become. Like they want to guide everyone and rule the world, kind of thing. They want to be at the top. They want to become famous. Okay. So, these kind of qualities you can find in Rahu, Leo, in the first house. And let us come to Virgo. Rahu, Virgo in the first house. The first quality you can say that, especially if Saturn is placed, you can see that the person can become very nitpicky. Now, what do I mean by nitpicky is that they will like find out faults with you a lot. Like, for example, it's a very minor fault that you have in a document, but they will just keep on pestering you to correct that fault and just go through the document and criticize everyone and become a good critic. Basically, that is what I want to mean. They can become really good critics. Um, because Rahu is the original ruler of the sixth house of Aquarius and sitting in the first house in the sign of Virgo. So it's a double six for Rahu in the Lagna itself. So these people become very critical. Okay, they can be critical about the looks, especially if Saturn is also there. That is also the sixth house and original ruler of criticism. So about themselves, about them become very critical, especially about hygiene. Okay, They can have OCD also if the ascendant lord is not well placed. So these kind of people will find Rahu Lagna and Virgo, and also these people can become very analytical because Virgo is the sixth sign and Rahu is ruling the original sixth house. Okay. Next we are going to Libra. So in the Libra, Rahu is ruling the fifth house and sitting in the first house. Okay, of Aquarius sign and sitting in the first house of Libra. So what does that originally mean is that when the person is studying something, fifth house is the house of studies and intelligence. Okay, so when the person is studying something, he might study anything which is of a different nature. Okay, different nature, not what other people study. Like they have a basic nature of studying something which is a lot of science, highly technical or scientific. Okay, not with other people are studying or other people want to study. They usually become like to study engineering subjects or highly research and oriented subjects, provided the the first lord is also well placed and Saturn is also well placed. And their main focus in life can be relationships and how to balance relationships because that is aspecting like seventh house effect is also there, Libra effect is also there. Especially with when it comes to Venus and all, then the fifth, seventh combination along with the first combination, they really get into a lot of affairs and marriages and relationships are the most important part of their lives. Okay, they cannot keep their mental balance in shape if they are not having a proper relationship and marriage life. Then it comes to Rahu in Scorpio Lagna. So this kind of Rahu can be a bit eccentric because Scorpio is a original ruler like ruled by Ketu, and Scorpio is another house of disbalance or you can say ups and downs. So Rahu is already an eccentric. Okay, does not behave normally. Now Rahu is sitting in the sign of Scorpio in Lagna is that the person will have a different outlook from everyone else. For example, especially if Mercury is also placed there or Mercury is placed well in 5th house or 11th house or the first house. Okay, then Moon is also well placed, suppose in the 9th house. And I've seen people having a lot of psychic abilities because 8th house is original house of intuition and psychic abilities. Rahu can also give a kind of known for black magic. Okay, so Rahu can also produce the effect of getting into occult, having psychic abilities, being involved in black magic and all. Okay, so and Rahu is the original house of the fourth. So the quality might have been inherited from the mother, or their mental balance can only come if they utilize that psychic quality or the intuition quality. Okay, and they can also become good researchers because 8th house originally is the house for research and Rahu is excellent at research and getting into higher research studies and higher technical studies and all. This will all depend where the Mars is placed, where Mercury is placed, how Moon is placed. So this is a generic view that I'm giving. Rahu in the ninth, I mean, in the Sagittarius in the first house. For these people, what happens is that there's a bit of a problem with these people. First of all, Rahu is considered to be debilitated in Sagittarius. Why? Because Rahu, Sagittarius is the house of norms and faith and religion. And Rahu does not want all that. Rahu wants to go against the norms. So Rahu is considered to be kind of debilitated there. Okay. Then it's aspecting the ninth house. So the Rahu is taking that debilitation energy and aspecting the ninth house from there. So what it means that Rahu is already owning the third house. Okay, so going to the first house is their third house is the original house of communication. So their viewpoint and communication might be against the world, against the normal belief of the world, not against the world. Uh, like the political views or the views of their fathers and mentors might not match with them. If the ascendant lord is well placed, Jupiter is well placed. Jupiter is aspecting Rahu or placed in fourth house or exalted or whatever. Then even if they disagree with their mentors, mentors will agree to him or they'll come to a common pact, like common conclusion. If not, they might get into troubles with them. Okay, they might break laws and rules and break norms and get into trouble because of that. And that is also they are already also interested in higher knowledge and higher learning and research, because first thing Rahu does is to wants to research on a greater level. Ketu researches on a micro level, and Rahu researches on a macro level. So research on a greater level can be seen. Next, we are coming to Rahu in the first house of Capricorn. Okay, so when Rahu is in Capricorn, originally it's ruling the second house of Aquarius. Right? So second house of Aquarius deals with wealth, and it's coming to the first house. Now here Rahu is a bit more stable due to the fact that Capricorn is a stable sign. It is not a dual sign like Sagittarius. Capricorn is a stable sign. So Rahu is becoming more stable there. Okay, and you can see the original house of career, and it's ruling the second house of wealth. So somehow their main focus of life is career and wealth somehow, and that is in the first house. So first house defines what is the main focus in our life. So there Rahu is producing a good result of, like, not a good result, gives you a very focused approach towards life, towards your career, towards how to establish yourself, um, how to gain profits and how to gain a good social life, I mean status and all, career. Okay, discipline, law and order, because 10th house is the original house of like laws, discipline by Saturn. Okay, so in that case Rahu is doing good, better than what he was in Sagittarius. Okay, then we are checking the 11th house, that is Aquarius house, in the first house, and how is Rahu performing there. And that is a very good thing for Rahu because it's ascendant lord in the ascendant house. So that is a good thing for Rahu, and a much more stable in a fixed sign. Original house of profits, healing, doing things for others, thinking about the society at large. So Rahu wants to make it large into the society and do something for them so that he becomes famous and gains profit in the long run by taking time. Okay. And also one important thing, that to understand the results of Rahu, we need to check two things. One is where the nakshatra lord is placed, where is the dispositor is placed. So to come to the final conclusion, these 2 points are very important. So whatever points that I've mentioned is that a generic view. To get to the final conclusion, I definitely need to check the dispositor, any other influence of other planets, as well as the nakshatra lord. Finally, Rahu in Pisces in the first house. Now, Pisces, Ketu is very comfortable in Pisces. Rahu is not comfortable in Pisces because Rahu is a very scientific planet, not a moksha karak. So, when you are studying science, you don't want to gain moksha. Okay, I mean, you don't think about life after death and all. Like you actually want to gain profits out of this world and get into research and more higher technical knowledge and all of it. And 12th house is the original house of going outward. It's a change in this world. So I was not very happy there. He can give you weird kind of results if your Jupiter is not well placed, or if any other planets are influencing Rahu. Um, the person can be delusional of their identity, because 12th house is the original house of loss, and Rahu is itself a very delusional planet. So the person might think that he is on a trance state, or a very you know in in an ocean, like swimming in an ocean without finding a direction. Okay, because Pisces is like uh, you know house of loss. Okay, person sleeps in the 12th house and exits from the world using the 12th house, like Ketu said. Meditation houses around you. Now, Rahu does not like to meditate as much. Rahu is all about, I want to live this life, I want to party hard and hard. So that is the reason why there is a disbalance of Rahu in Pisces in the first house. Provided Jupiter is, if it's well placed and there are beneficial influences, then obviously that person can be good at research, because 12th house is the isolation house, research house, can also go into foreign lands as well. But only thing is that Jupiter needs to be well placed, and the nakshatra lord also needs to be in good houses. Okay. So that is all for Rahu in all the houses from 1 to 12. Okay. And another important point that I would like to add is that when Rahu is sitting in the first house originally is signified by Sun, and the ruler of the first house is a ascendant lord, right? So Rahu is an enemy of the Sun. Okay. So whenever Rahu is in the first house, the first thing I will see that your Sun is getting somehow afflicted because original significator is the Sun. Sun is getting afflicted by Rahu because Rahu is sitting there. Um, then Ascendant Lord is also getting afflicted because a malefic planet is sitting in the ascendant. So ascendant is becoming the dispositor of Rahu. Somehow that is also disturbing the balance. If your ascendant Lord is getting well placed again, very strongly placed, so that will overcome the effects. But in general, whenever it sits in the ascendant, it distorts the significance of Sun as well as ascendant Lord. So that is all I have to say about Rahu in the first house. Now I'll add a couple of more points. Then we will go to two example charts. Okay? So one thing is that this is for the D1 chart. Now there are other divisional charts like D7, D9, D10. Okay, D3. So this Rahu will behave like this only for this D1 chart. For D9 chart and D10 chart, how will you apply this Rahu?
Can you share with example also? You can
Yes,
share
I
the
will share.
charts on a screen
I
so
will
that
share.
we
I will
can
share.
understand it easily.
I will share. First of all, yeah. So in D9 chart or yeah, say D9 chart. So D9 chart is dealing with marriage. Okay. So it is the original house of original chart for finding marriage. How your married life will be and what will be dharma. Suppose even you are not married and you are not meant to get married, it is the original house of dharma and what path will lead you to like what path you are going to lead before you die. So if Rahu is placed in the first house of your D9, which shows that you're obsessed with the either with finding a partner or you're obsessed with finding the right path of dharma. Okay. Now this can have two effects. Why would you be obsessed with finding a partner? Suppose you're not finding a partner for ages. Okay. And you are now suddenly have become obsessed with finding a partner right now. So that can be an effect of Rahu sitting in the Lagna. That it can give a mental disbalance or mental uneasiness, emotional disturbance. Why am I not being able to find a partner? So there is the obsessive quality of Rahu in the Lagna and the D9. And same goes with the D10 also. With the D10, it is without a career, you will go mad. Like you're completely obsessed with getting a career. Career is the only thing you want in life, or status is the only thing you want in life. So it is giving a huge desire over there. You can also get over ambitious with career. Like for example, Rahu is in the Lagna in D10 and the Lagna Lord is in the 8th house, 12th house. Then what it can show is that because you're not being able to get a career of your choice, you're not being able to perform properly in your career, you can go to any extent or any limit to achieve that. Provided any Jupiter is not aspecting or any other benefic influences are not there, it's completely filled with malice, that the obsession and career can make you crazy. So, like that, you have to apply the effect of Rahu in various divisional charts in the first house also, keeping in mind that what is the concept of the divisional chart. Okay. Now we'll come to an example. Since I've explained all the points, we'll now come to an example. I'll show you one chart. Two charts where you can see the effects of Rahu. Just one. Are you able to see the chart? Hello?
No moments.
Can you see the chart?
Not yet. It says it's screen started saying
Okay.
failure. Might be some network issue. It will work now. Just wait for 2 minutes.
Sure, I'll just wait. Just let me know once you're able to view the chart.
Now we can see.
Okay, fine. So here we can see that Rahu is in the ascendant, in the Libra Lagna, okay, with Venus there, Moon in the seventh house, 10th Lord Moon in the seventh house, Venus there, fifth Lord is also there. Saturn is aspecting the seventh house, okay. And Rahu is also aspecting the fifth house Saturn. So in general, what we can say is that the nature of the person. See, first you need to understand the sign of Libra. The sign of Libra is the original house of relationship with others, how we are balancing relationship with others, marriages. Okay, Rahu is sitting there, being the fifth lord. So automatically there is one obsession with relationship, obsession with finding a partner, obsession with having a love affair is there. Okay, now Rahu double whammy is there. Rahu is sitting with Venus. Venus is the Lagna lord. Venus is sitting in the sign of Libra. So if you combine all the qualities, this person is obsessed with finding a partner. Um, from a very early age, like from the age of say 12, 13, he has been getting one partner after the other, one partner after the other. He does not care. He does not care about breakups. He does not care about breaking relationships or breaking norms. So obsessed with having a partner. At any point of time, he is unable to stay calm, like unable to stay without a partner. He feels that his life is dead if he does not get a partner. This is the number one quality. Moon is also there here, aspecting Rahu. So what it means that Moon is also the significator of eloping or having multiple partners or cheating. There's a mythological concept also there that Moon having 27 wives with Rohini becoming the best wife or no most favorite wife. So Moon is known for all these qualities. So Venus Moon will automatically get him multiple partners to the fact that he finds his emotional balance, that is Moon, when he is in a relationship. Okay. Otherwise he has got no emotional balance. Wherever a moon is, the emotional balance is right there. Okay. Now Saturn is Rahu's also aspecting the fifth house Saturn, so that is automatically again giving him lots of relationships from a very early age. Another thing is that another point is that, as I said, Rahu represents foreign things and foreign culture. So he has been in a relationship with women from other countries also, from other religion also. So basically, he has been in a relationship with many kind of women from other religion countries. Some women were not of his age also, were elder to him. So different against the norms kind of relationships that he had. He had also been into live-in relationships. Now, live-in relationships are not that much accepted by the society, but he has been. He does not care about society. And the person he has married is also from another country. Okay, so he has married someone who is from another country. Also, another thing that you can see that Venus and Moon are very creative planets, and fifth house is also the house of creativity. This person has got multiple talents, and he is multi-talented. He is into music, he is into filmmaking, he is into teaching, he is into very technical kind of knowledge. Like he's making robots and all, and he's into high technical research and multiple talents that he has. Playing instruments, making lots of friends and all, playing chess, playing games, being good at quiz. Is also very intelligence because first house is also the house of intelligence, and I was sitting here amplifying his intelligence. Okay, so his creative intelligence got amplified due to this. So here Rahu is giving both positive and negative results because the first house intelligence and creativity is connection, this combination. That's how Rahu will manage people. Let us show another example. I just change the time. Yeah. So are you able to see the next example now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in this chart, it's a chart of a female native. Here we can see that it's a similar kind of chart like the other one, but slightly different. Here again Libra Lagna is there, and Rahu is sitting with Jupiter in Libra in the first house. So again, in any Libra Lagna that you can see, first quality that you will see is somehow, somewhat, the main person's main concern till birth is relationship and marriage. Somehow, somewhere. Now the marriage can take place early or late, or he might find the right partner. What is a different issue that will depend on the quality, citizen, Lord, Venus, and all. But business marriage is the first criteria or the first thought or the first motive that the person has since birth. But without these, the person will lose his identity. Okay. Again, the fifth lord Rahu is sitting there, aspecting in the fifth house, and Jupiter is there, who is the functional and malefic, ruling the third and sixth house, sitting in Lagna. Okay. Now, Rahu is also aspecting Mars here, that is the seventh lord. Two, three things that you can check here is that Mars, seventh lord, is in a dual sign. Okay. And in general, seventh lord in the ninth house in a dual sign, that to Mars, is not a very good thing to happen. Especially in the sign of Gemini, because sign of Gemini is known to be a very cunning, not I mean, it's a cunning sign. It's highly political sign. Political sign as in like might be backbiters, will be something in front of you, something behind your back. Especially if it's afflicted. So here Gemini sign is afflicted by Mars and Rahu. Okay. So what has happened is this person's husband, and the sign of Aries is also the sign of anger ruled by Mars. This person's husband has a lot of anger issues with her and kind of a dual personality, as in he will show something else to her and behave in a completely different way. Like he'll pretend to be someone else but behave in a completely different way. This is a good chance of getting cheated also. Okay, because one is Gemini, seventh lord Mars is in a dual sign, and Mars is also known to be a thief or someone who likes to cheat with other people. And Rahu is also aspecting there. Although Jupiter aspecting can save here, but Jupiter is again the functional malefic ruling the sixth house here. So this is not of much help here. And 6,000 Mars will also lead to fights. So a lot of domestic violence and fights and all has happened with this person. And kind of she also got kind of cheated also. Okay, here. The significator of marriage Jupiter is also getting afflicted by Rahu. Saturn, being the Yoga Karaka planet here, is trying to save the seventh house, but since the other factors are like too much against the norm, too much against the favorable situation, so Saturn could not really save this thing. Uh, so yeah, it gave marriage to the person because of the Yoga Karaka effect and the some benefic qualities of Jupiter here. But still, it wasn't a very happy one due to the fact that it's gone into Gemini, and Rahu is also known to be a very political and cunning planet in this case. Now, Rahu will behave in the way it's getting influenced by the other person. Here, you can see the Lagna Lord is in the 12th house. So, if the Lagna Lord is not well placed, Rahu will also not work well. Like 12th house is the house of losses, also debilitated. So Rahu here will not function well. Okay, Rahu will give you malefic results here. Previously, I showed you something which gave both benefic and malefic results, but here it will only give you malefic results because of the Lagna Lord going to 12th house. So this person was also creative, you can say, because it is in the original sign of Libra, And 12th house can show imagination and creativity. So this person is somewhat creative, but other factors like getting cheated and having domestic violences can also be visible due to this combination. So that is how the results of Rahu can vary from one chart to the other depending on the placement of dispositor and whatever planets are influencing Rahu and the nakshatra. Okay. Here we can also see that Rahu is in Vishakha. Vishakha is a very destructive kind of a nakshatra because Vishakha has two sides. There is a concept of Indra and Agni in Vishakha. Okay? It's a double forked kind of a thing, double sided. Like you can, if you have many planets in Vishakha, always Vishakha is afflicted. You can find people with dual personalities there. So that kind of thing Vishakha can give, and Rahu and Vishakha will obviously behave like that. Like and also influence the planets in that manner, sitting with the significator Jupiter here. Jupiter and Rahu have also exchanged nakshatra. Jupiter is in Rahu's nakshatra, Rahu is in Jupiter's nakshatra. So somehow, somewhat, some kind of cheating thing can be seen. Okay, and more amplified in Mars because Mars is in Gemini in the ninth house, which is not a good thing. And ninth house is the house of faith and norms and all. So this violence case that I'm talking about, domestic violence case, so that is against the norms. You know, you're breaking rules there. You are filing a case, you are breaking some kind of rules there. That is why the reason you are filing a case. Right? So some broken rules can also be seen through this. Broken laws or broken rules. Okay. Yeah. And then we can also say some other points. I should stop sharing the screen now. Just talk about what I want to give is people who are practicing prashna technique. Okay, suppose no, I know many people or many people who do this. They practice prashna on a very regular level. For example, they are going out of the market. They see an incident happening. They immediately open the prashna chart and analyze prashna. Okay. So one tip for them or people who are really interested to learn prashna and already astrology experience, day-to-day experiences and predictions. One tip to them is that suppose there is an incident where you're not aware of what exactly is happening. Suppose you are going to the market and commotion is happening there, or in a shopping mall some kind of commotion is happening. You are clueless what is happening. I don't know. I want to find out what is happening. Instead of asking people, you just want to know what is happening from an astrological point of view. You can open the Prashna chart and look at where is Rahu placed. So that will give you a clue as to where the confusion is, where is the illusion is. Okay. The Rahu is placed in the second house at that time. So you can know something in a restaurant if you see that some commotion is happening and Rahu is placing things. You know, so you can understand some kind of um, you know confusion related to the food might have happened. Either the person has placed a wrong order or uh, placed a very old food with bacterial growth in it or microbial or insects in it. Something which is not accepted or not expected out of it. So there's a commotion that's happening there. Also, the sign in the second house where the planets are placed, what is the influence, the learner, all the other factors will also play a role. But that's a definite thing. Whenever you are facing a situation, a very confusing, delusional situation, and you want to find out through Prashna, always check Rahu. That will give you a clear cut indication of where the confusion is lying. So yeah, this is all I had to say about Rahu in the first house. Okay. Um, yeah, so that's all for today, and we can also get into other parts of uh, this knowledge session, and we can share some other information later on in some other parts. So if you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe to the video, and don't forget to check the Saptarishis shop section for consultations and other information, other things that you would like. Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Saptarishi, for this opportunity. Stay safe, stay well. Goodbye. Have a nice time.